So I think what I'm going to do then is I'm going to move into the teaching part, or the transmission that I wanted to be bringing. And if you haven't downloaded the book that inspired this, I have it in the chat, but I'm going to leave it here again for you. This book that I wrote is called Rise of the Soulpreneur. And it's all about what we are experiencing, how we are moving into the Human Design 2027 mutation, which is part of Ra's prophecy. Ra prophesized that we are moving into a new human evolution or mutation. And even though it's in 2027, we are the mothers. We are the midwives of this new era, of this new paradigm. And you may feel called to be a leader of this new paradigm, of showing up and sharing from your heart how you see, how you visionize, how you want to bring in that new paradigm into our world, because we see a lot of the foundations and the systems breaking apart. And so it's time for us to stand up and for us to rise and to move into that next level of leadership. And so I wrote this during the Venus retrograde this year. I sat down and I channeled all the information and the energy in. I used a lot of the information obviously from Ra, who of course downloaded this information. I also used the information from Karen Curry Parker, who wrote Quantum Human, and she has her own teachings of the way that 2027 may go down. But then I channeled in my own call to it, and the way that I see it. And so I brought in the planets and the astrology of it so that we can see how the astrology is playing a role in this mutation. I also brought in how human design is changing and how the chart is changing as well, so that we can have an understanding how that is going to move through us as soulpreneurs. And then I also shared how it is soulpreneurs are going to be the new leaders as we change the way marketing and business looks like. So moving away from bro marketing, or moving away from the way that it was done before, trauma-based marketing, to be, totally honest, dealing with your pain points and manipulation and FOMO and comparison and, act now, and adding more fluff to your stuff, and these value ladders that is just overconsumption. And we're not here for that. We're really bringing in a message sometimes that less is more, and learning to what is sustainable and what does enough actually feel like. Because I would love to hear from you ladies. What does enough, what does being satisfied actually feel like? Do we know? So if anybody can hop out and share their experience, or in the chat, that would be lovely. I just feel that right now we're in a little bit of a resistance or a discombobulation of what enough is. What do we truly need to be sustainable? How do we fill our own cups up first and then serve from the saucer, instead of always being in this lack mentality, always thinking that we don't have enough, always thinking that there's not going to be enough, that there's only a limited amount or a limited amount of time, when that's really not the case. And so, what does enough feel like to you?
So here I go again. But for me, enough, what is enough? Enough is trust, right? It's absolute trust and faith, and knowing that we live in an abundant universe and we don't really want for anything, right? We have enough. There is enough. Um, And so it's when you're living in the abundance mindset and you're not in that scarcity mindset, when you're in the scarcity mindset, that marketing works on you. That fear-based marketing works on you. When you're living in your abundance and in your trust and your faith that the universe will provide and you have everything that you need, those marketing tactics do not work on you. But the tactics that do work, or then the things that you are drawn to are the things that are authentically meant for you, right? Because you're not operating out of that fear base, you're operating out of alignment.
I love that so much. I love that you recognize that the bro marketing or the fear tactics do work for those that are, and I don't want to say lower frequency as it's a bad thing, but if they're operating in fear and lack and in sadness and grief and regret and in all those lower based energies, lower not good or bad, just the way it is on the scale, then they're going, like attracts like, right? But for us, we're connected to our hearts. We've done a lot of the healing. We have done a lot of our own work, and we're ready to be our next level. We're ready to be like, okay, I've done a lot of healing. What is next? How can I share this? How can I be that spark? How can I show people what abundance actually feels like? And so I'm not marketing to you, instead I'm opening up and I'm sharing with you. I'm collaborating with you. I'm showing you multiple ways that you could create an income and a business, rather than my way or the highway, or this is the only way, or you're an idiot if you don't do this, right? And so I loved how you shared that, Gina, so very much.
Thanks.
And we have somebody here who says, I don't know. So perhaps they've never asked themselves that before. What sustainability, what the feeling of enoughness is. So I'm going to share my view of enoughness, just to give you another point of view. For me, I struggled with money mindset or lack mentality for many years, and there was a few times where I plugged into source energy. The first time I did it was through a meditation, and my heart opened so wide, and I felt this unconditional love that never felt before in my entire life. And since I've felt that feeling, I realized that it's possible to feel that again and again and again, and to start training myself to feel that a little bit more. But that feeling was more like, I don't care that, it's like, um, it doesn't matter because what's meant for me will come to me. It felt like I don't have to stress out about certain things anymore, because I know in my heart of heart, as Gina said, trust. But I trust that I'm always supported, that I'm always loved. It might not show up on my time, but it always shows up on divine time. And so leaning into thy will versus my will. And it felt like once I made that frequency shift to abundance and thy will and opening myself up to source energy and source material, there wasn't that lack mentality. There wasn't that, oh no, somebody's going to steal my ideas, because I can always create more. This is connected to the gate 55, the gate of abundance. And one of the big things that is shifting in 2027 is the reversal of energy. So right now, the root energy from gate 39 moves into gate 55 into the abundance. And the shift isn't like a, oh, 2027 happens, now everybody is in the reversal. This reversal is a choice, is a sovereign choice that we get to once again be the pioneers of. We get to be the leaders of. We get to show other people how it is not done, but how it's embodied. So when we start embodying that truth, we start embodying that faith, we start embodying that abundance, we start provoking others into innovative ways to create more capacity for themselves. And so in Rise of the Soulpreneur, I go deeper into that. And also in the membership and the mastermind, we are going to be going deeper into the theory of the whole mutation of the chart. But I'm going to share some slides with you, okay? Called Rise of the Soulpreneur. I see I froze there. Rise of the Soulpreneur, ditch scarcity, trauma, and the FOMO, and attract dream clients by being the lighthouse and not the light boat, right? We're talking about magnetism and attraction, being a soulpreneur, whether you use marketing or sales or just the message, the impact that you want to share. And what I really want to share the most is how to be a lighthouse as a projector, how to be the invitation, right? Instead of being a lifeboat or search and rescue, like cold DMs and, spewing your message all over the world, as I call it, rocking out with your cock out. We're not here for that. We're not here for that. And so, really, how do we come into ourselves? How do we shine our light from the inside out so that we can attract those, the community, we can attract the clients, we can attract those collaborators that we can share our message through? So, what we're talking about today is that scarcity is canceled. And we've kind of talked a little bit about that, but we're going to go deeper into that. Collaboration is the new currency. Soulprism is built on the foundation of collaboration, affiliation, and automation. This is how we make money in our sleep. This is how we get to work on the scale that we work on, and it takes a lot less energy, and that's through a collaboration, that's through affiliation and creating multiple streams of revenue, and then through automation where we can make money in our sleep. Healing the marketing wound. And I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier when I was talking about how marketing right now, the way that it is right now, and that the system that we have come to create, the new foundation, is through healing that marketing wound and through trauma informed marketing and through empowerment marketing rather than victimization. We're going to talk about being the lighthouse, and as I said, not a search and rescue, right? We're not a search and rescue. We're not a bunch of tugboats. We're not we're not pushing people. We're not, going cold DMs and just being everywhere. We're really anchoring into our own energy and shining our light from our own energy. And this is how we are going to create our own legacies of love. And I love the idea of a legacy of love because love is a spectrum, right? Love is a spectrum, light is a spectrum, and we're here to share our own unique soul prism. So you're in the right place. If you're done squeezing into outdated business strategies that feel more like Spanx than soul aligned success, and you're ready to build your business on your terms. Honestly, using your human design, using your passion as your purpose, right? When we connect to our sacral, when we connect to our passion, when we connect to that seed, that nugget within us that we want to grow, that we want to nurture, that we want to share with the world, we stay in alignment with that instead of what everyone else is doing, what everyone else is telling you to do. We stay in integrity because you're stronger when you stay in alignment and in energetic integrity, and you build capacity from there, and you build your business on your own terms. You are in the right place if you are officially allergic to sleazy marketing tactics. Even the word tactics, right? That is army, that is war, that is tactical. No more fake countdown timers, no more fluff filled offers, offer stacking, all the added bonuses, the shake weight, buy two and get the third one free, none of that stuff. Or chasing money as the only measure of success, unless you're still selling shake weights. I use that example. But right now, what I'm seeing in the industry, I'm seeing in the world is all these women who are deep, deep, deep in their masculine, and all they think about, oh, their measure of success is monetary, right? And they're hustling, and they're always their next offer, and how can I stack it, and how can I create this ascension ladder where it almost looks like a Scientology church, and you have to pay to play. I'm not here to gatekeep energy. I'm not here to gatekeep, information. If you talk to anybody that I work with, I give it all to you. I'm not here to gatekeep, because that's just in with integrity with me. So I have my boundaries, of course, but I'm not going to be like, oh, you only paid for this, therefore you only get this. That just doesn't feel right to me. But you have to honor your own energy and know what's right for you. You are in the right place if you are over the shame based, never enough marketing cycle, where success is measured by how much you push, grind, and scale. And I kind of talked about that earlier. You're here to build a business that is sustainable, fulfilling, and actually supports your well being. So, not just your bank account, not just your ego, not just your identity, not just what everyone else thinks about you, but your well being, and your health becomes your wealth. So, if that is you, welcome to the next level. Let's dive in. And so, I'm curious, is this the kind of businesses that you ladies want to build? If you can just give me a hell yes in the comments, that would be amazing. Yes, amazing. Okay, we'll continue then. So, if you didn't know who I am after I've been here with you for about 45 minutes now, my name is Tammy Mack. I call myself a soulful strategist. I really have a hard time boxing myself in, but I am a soulful strategist, a human design specialist, and someone who's tried all the formulas, right? I have been deep, deep in marketing and business for a number of years now, and there's none of it really fit. And so I spent so much money, so much time, so much effort, and I'm grateful for it because it's taught me so much of what I don't want to do. And so it's allowed me to understand what I do and how I do want to share. So if you ever felt burnt out, boxed in, or just straight up bored in your business, if it is not lighting your sacral up, if it's not lighting your soul up, if you are not connected to your strategy, the way that you make decisions, then let's talk. Let's talk so that we can build a business um, from the soul out, from the inside out. And so you're not always jumping on that next strategy. You're not jumping on that next tactic. You're not jumping on that next trend. You are doing you. You're staying in alignment with you. And every year you just get better and better and better, like the fine wine that you are. Just checking the chat here. So the first conversation is scarcity is cancered because we's abundant now. We's are abundant now. And I kind of talked a little bit about that with the Gate 55. But for the past centuries, success was all about playing by the rules, securing your place in the system, and building stability through strategies and through contracts. It was very external, structured, and let's be real, it had a work hard, prove yourself vibe, right? That was the vibe, is that you had to you had to work hard, you had to go to school, you had to prove yourself with the certifications, with the money, with the fancy clothes, with the nice car, with the latest iPhone, right? You had to prove yourself to show other people that you are worthy, or that you were somebody that they want to buy from or work from. But that era is so over. The cross of the sleeping phoenix is rising in 2027. Now, we say that it's rising in 2027, but we are starting this now because we are the new leaders. We are the new paradigm leaders, and we're doing this now so that when people are catching up in 2027, we've been around the block a few times. So, this new game is about personal power, energetic alignment, and creative flow. So those tribal safety nets that we've been so accustomed to are leaving now. Those long-term plans become shaky at best. The future belongs to soulpreneurs who aren't waiting for permission. We know that our vibe attracts our tribe, and abundance is an inner game. It's not something that we show, that's showy. It truly is a vibration. It is a feeling. That's why it's in the emotional solar plexus. And when we look at the 2027 mutation, we see that the solar plexus becomes an awareness center, not a motor as it is now. Now, this is for the generations after 2027 who are born. They're going to be not connected to their emotions the way that we are now. And this is something that I'm really, really excited to talk about because I work in mental health and addictions. I work in healthcare, and I see these new generations of children that are being born that either have a really hard time regulating their emotions, or they don't really base their decisions on their emotions at all. And the reason is because it's become an awareness center rather than the way that it is moving them. And so when we move further into the 2030s and beyond, we're going to see that we're not going to be making emotional decisions as much as we used to. Now, 50% of the population are emotionally defined. This means that they have to understand, they have to have that awareness of their wave, right? So that they can create an action from the way that their energy is feeling in the moment instead of now, right? So they're not reactive, right? They're not reacting to their passion. They're not reacting to their anger. They're not reacting even to their happiness. They're aware of it and they know that it's always there. And that is a huge difference that we're going to be moving through our lifetime and beyond. So we're heading into the new blueprint of abundance, of business, and leadership. Now, as we were talking about for the last 400 years, the cross of planning, which is the underlying current that the world has been moving through. So think about these crosses as currents, right? As underlying currents of tides that are background frequencies that we're all connected to, but most of us don't even know about. And so, okay. And so, for the last 400 years, we've been in the cross of planning, and this handed us strategy driven, security obsessed world where success meant following the plan. It meant playing it safe, and it meant proving yourself to the tribe. It was all about contracts, handshakes, and making sure that everyone had their piece of the pie. And it did work for a while, but until it didn't. And we see that it's not working now. So, what did we learn from this? We learned that structure gives us stability, but it also locked us into rigid systems, burnout cycles, and a collective addiction to doing the right thing over doing what actually feels right to us individually, right? So it was very altruistic. My example, for instance, working in healthcare, working in a hospital, we're short staffed, we all dig in, right? We all work. It doesn't matter if, your kids are at home and they need to be fed. It doesn't matter if you're exhausted. No, you did what was best for the system rather than what was for yourself. I remember when I started working in the 90s, wherever you worked, they were like a family. They all took care of each other, right? This is kind of what we know of. They all took care of ourselves or of each other. Regardless, you bent over backwards for your neighbor because that was the right thing, regardless if you didn't have the energy to share, right? And so we've been through that. But how it broke was the institutions that we trusted, the governments, the corporations, the so-called rules of success they became power hungry, right? They leaving us drained, dependent, and stuck in endless loops of chasing, proving, and never arriving, right? So the way that they kept us, in their systems was this false sense of security. And this is my example again, working in healthcare, this promise of a pension, this promise of health benefits, this promise of job security, but those promises may not be able to be held in the future as these institutions are crumbling. And so the evolution is that the cross of planning isn't just fading out, but it is actually collapsing. And we're shifting from these tribal contracts and survival strategies to personal sovereignty, creative flow, and full energetic self leadership. So, if you're still waiting for a clear roadmap, a 10-step formula, or some expert to tell you what to do, I got to be honest, you're already behind. You're chasing someone else's dream. Because the future belongs to those who own their energy, who trust their instincts, and stop waiting for permission. The new economy doesn't belong to those who follow the rules. It belongs to those who are breaking them and building or guiding something even better, right? Because we're not all here to build, right? We're not all here to build. Some of us are visionaries and we have a vision, but we don't have the energy to build. Some of us are so ready to build something new, but they don't know what that newness is. And so when we all work together, we can create something all together rather than, spinning around in circles trying to figure it out. So the new currency is collaboration, affiliation, and automation. So wealth was built on ownership, control, and hoarding resources. The game was rigged for, let's be real, the 1%, while the rest of us were told to work harder for their cut, right? That is so done. That is so done. We cannot work 80-hour work weeks and maintain our health. The new economy is not built on competition, but it is built on connection, right? Very feminine, very, wholeness. So collaboration is the new currency, affiliation is the new business model, and automation is the key to sustainability, right? Working with AI, working with the new technology, working with it instead of fighting against it, right? How can we work together? So we're no longer fighting for a seat at someone else's table. We're building our own and we're making it bigger. So this isn't just a shift, this is a full on business revolution. And you, my friends, you are the ones that are going to be leading it. And I'm so excited for you. My mama heart just feels so excited for the new leaders, the new paradigm leaders that are emerging and that are building something completely different from what we've known ever before. So we're talking collaboration over competition. This is the wealth model of the future. Because the old economy was all about who owned the most, right? Hoarding, land, resources, power. And it was a game of control and scarcity. But now it's about who you're connected to, right? Who you're connected to and what you're connected to. So the new rule is to expand your network and elevate your wealth. Now, the 3D version of expand your network is like collaboration, right? Collaborating with other business women, not seeing other business women in your industry as competition, right? How can we work together? How can we share our messages? Because we could be doing the exactly same thing, but doing them completely different. And so knowing that there is enough for everyone, and I want everyone to win, right? I want everyone to win. So that is the kind of like the 3D, the 4D model. I want to talk about connecting to universal source and allowing the universal source to also expand your network and elevate your wealth. So when we're connected to the unity consciousness, and we're connected to the universe or God or source or the creator or the goddess, however you see your higher self, connecting to that form of energy and that form of wisdom and anchoring it into your body, it hits so much differently. So, power isn't hoarding, it's sharing, it's taking in and amplifying it out. Business that thrive now are the ones that collaborate, that cross pollinate, and amplify each other. The rise of the co creator. So if you look around right now, you see so many different brands, they're linking up. Entrepreneurs are teaming up, and partnerships based businesses are winning. Why? Because why struggle alone when you can build together? You see so many of these coaches right now, they're affiliating with their website platforms, right? And so they're holding webinars and whatnot for the platform, and they're creating affiliate income from that. You see many leaders coming together in summits, in experiences, in conferences. They're bringing, all of their people, their ride or dies together, and they're creating these beautiful networks, which is amazing. So the go it alone model and mentality is dead. If you're trying to do it yourself, everything you're missing out on a wealth model that multiplies, instead, it depletes, right? So if we think about it, there's so much automation, there's so much AI, there's so much tech right now that and also the internet has opened us up to being able to work with people all over the world. Like on this call today, we have people from all over the world, and we get to use each other's energy and share each other's energy and share each other's resources and systems so that we don't feel like we're doing it alone. And even as a soulpreneur or a single entrepreneur or solopreneur, you can work with others to collaborate, to affiliate, and to get seen and heard and recognized through other people's platforms. I'm just going to check the chat here. So Gina says that it was 11:11 at that time. Beautiful. So affiliation is the new business model. Getting paid to share what you love. So this means forget cold selling, desperate pitches, and awkward DMs. The easiest way to make money now is recommending what you already believe in. So I kind of talked about this with some of the coaches, recommending the products that they use, recommending their coaches, recommending their platforms, right? Recommending what you already believe in, right? So this is something tried and true in your own energy, and that you can share from integrity rather than what's hot right now, because people do not want more salespeople, right? They want trusted guides. Your audience trusts you. Your stamp of approval is more valuable than any ad. Like for many, many people, they buy because of a person's energy. They buy because of the vibe. They buy because of the one-on-one experience. They buy because of the calls, perhaps rather than the courses, perhaps rather than what they're getting. They're paying for that connection. They're paying to be seen, heard, and recognized by who they are, not for what they want to sell you. So this we're going to see the rise of referral-based businesses in the new paradigm of business. This means affiliate programs, bundles, summits, conferences, retreats, right? Places where we can get multiple coaches and multiple healers all in one room. And can you imagine the energy in these rooms right now? Amazing. In fact, we're going to be experiencing this at the Rise conference in October in Vancouver. So I'm really, really excited about that. You don't have to create everything yourself. Selling your own offers is great. I love it. I'm a creatrix, so I love to create all the time. It is literally what I do. But when you pair them with aligned collaborations and affiliate streams, this means next level income. This means zero extra work. Right? And so, how can you create something and share it multiple times? How can you create something and share it in multiple places? How can you create something and then share it with someone else who can share it with someone else, right? You don't have to do this all by yourself. And there's so many different ways now that we get to open up to new ways of collaborating. So the best part is that your network grows, your network grows, your income expands, and we are creating win-win-win situations. So, as I was saying before, automation means working smarter, not harder, because we do not want to create jobs for ourselves, right? We don't want to create jobs. We don't want to be in our business, or I don't. I don't want to be in my business 40 hours a week. I want to be able to create money in my sleep. I want to be able to serve at my highest resonance. And that means not grinding and hustling and pushing and proving. That means being able to lean back and truly 100% know that what you are sharing is worthy to be shared. So, if you're still manually handling everything in your business, you really are working against the flow. And so, introducing automations and affiliations is going to make your business so much easier. I know that a lot of people don't like tech, and there's so many people that you can hire for that. But honestly, once you understand a system, you can rinse and repeat it, it does get easier. So I'm talking AI, funnels, and automated systems. They are not replacing us, but they are freeing us so that we do have more space, more energy, more heart to create, to innovate, and to actually enjoy our lives. Because isn't that the whole point of this? Isn't it? So we want to create something that we set up once and we get paid forever because passive income isn't a fantasy, but it is a strategy. And this is why I always say soul first, strategy second. The most successful entrepreneurs aren't doing more, they are optimizing what works, what already works. So this means you might be third lining it, right? Failures and face plants, right? Fuck around and find out until you find what works and what doesn't work. And then start moving towards what is working, what is tried and true in your own energy and not someone else's. So, less busy work and more impact. You're not here to be a 24/7 content factory. I mean, unless you enjoy that, but you are here to lead. So let automation handle the heavy lifting so you can focus on what actually moves the needle. Something that I love to teach, whether this is in the Soulprism membership or the Hive Mind community, mastermind, is that once you start creating, you can go back and start seeing your own cycle of creation. You can see when you had the most, energy and when that energy flowed back a little bit, right? And so you can start seeing your own cyclical creation process in your own way, and then you can start using that old content because you've already created something that is a rinse and repeat. Here's my example. I have been creating human design resources since about 2019, 2020. And on my Facebook feed, what I do is I look back at my Facebook memories and I see that in my Facebook memories, I'm sharing the same gate. I'm sharing this a very similar message. I'm sharing the same masterclass over and over because it's connected to the transits. And so, knowing that, I can rinse and repeat it. I can continue to refine it year after year. So, once again, what you're sharing is evolving. It's evolving the way that you're evolving, and you're sharing it in alignment with your message as it moves, right? Because I teach that I don't teach niching. I teach that you are the niche, you are the brand, right? And the more that you embody your brand, it doesn't matter how you pivot, how you change, how you move, because your ride or dies are going to be there with you because they're buying because of you, not because necessarily of what you teach. Because perhaps what you teach, many other people are teaching it as well, but they don't teach it the way that you teach it. They don't share the way that you share. They don't love the way that you love. And that is the difference. So the new economy rewards those who use their time, their energies, and their connections wisely so they can get out and enjoy their life. Because that is the whole point of this, to enjoy our lives, not create a new job for ourselves. So what I love talking about is healing the marketing wound and creating trauma informed marketing. Now, I never knew that this part was coming through, to be quite honest. This is really coming from my own pain. Um, I have in my human design chart, I only have one channel that defines me, and that is the channel 4426. That's from the spleen to the will. That is the channel of sales and marketing. That is the channel of, can be the sneaky salesperson, right? It's the channel of surrender, right? And so in its lowest sense, it can be the channel of production, right? Overproducing, proving my worth or proving our worth. But I'm here to, and once again, I had no idea, but I'm here to flip the script on that. I'm here to help us create sales with integrity, with alignment, and selling to the right people, sharing with the right people, sharing with heart rather than with greed. Because sales have been built on fear and on guilt and on pressure. Find the pain point, poke it, push the sale, right? To me, that's gross. That's gross. The new era of sales is about resonance, connection, not coherence. People don't buy because they're afraid. They buy because they want to see what is possible. They want more. They want expansiveness. So this means no more force, no more FOMO, just aligned, empowered decisions. So if your sales feel pushy, you might be doing it wrong. So selling should feel like an invitation, not an ultimatum. So the old way of selling was to find the wound, to poke at it, and make them buy out of desperation, out of their wounding, out of their victim mentality. The problem with this, it's manipulative, it's outdated, and it's disempowering AF. People don't need to be broken down to buy. They need to be inspired to rise. Clients don't need fixing. You're not broken. You're not a car. They need clarity. They need to be seen. They need to be heard. They need to be recognized for the work that they have done already. They need to be activated and connected to their own sense of power. Soulpreneurs lead with transformation, not fear-based tactics. So the solution that I'm finding with this, and that we're all going to be creating this together, is to speak to the expansion, to the possibility, and that next level identity to your clients. So like we're sharing with them what we're selling. Whoops. What we're selling is what is possible. What is the next level that they're stepping into, not what they're running away from. And that has a very, very different flavor. So, from fake scarcity, FOMO, to true invitations and initiations, right? How many times have we heard, last chance, this deal is disappearing forever? Except it's not. And we see through that. We know that that fake timer that's on that sales page is just going to refresh. But fake urgency, it kills trust. And your clients aren't dumb. They know a reset timer when they see one. Real aligned clients, they don't need to be pressured. They want to, they desire to be seen and heard and recognized for who they are and to be invited to share. So, what I feel is the solution is to shift your sales from what is missing, or so that regret, sorry, of missing out, that FOMO, to you'll know when it's the right time, right? Creating sacral invitations and trust that the people, like that your clients, they will buy if it's aligned, right? Like they will work with you if they feel the call. So creating these sacred invitations and trusting people, trusting that your clients that you're working with, giving them that sense of empowerment, that they can choose if this is right for you or for them or not. I'm just going to check the chat here. Amazing. Haley says it's so reassuring and refreshing to hear this right now. Thank you. Thank you so much, Haley. I appreciate that very, very much. So this is my favorite thing. I remember getting a channel like a couple of years ago now, and it was like, stop adding fluff to your stuff because you don't think you're good enough, right? And then you see all these coaches like James Wedmore, and I mean, there's so many coaches. He's just one that comes to mind that is like, offer more value, more value, more value, and this bonus, and this bonus. And if you buy it right now, this bonus. And if you buy it right now, you're saving this, right? This used to be $2,970, and now you can get it right now for $999 if you sign up now. And if you sign up now, you're going to get this bonus and this bonus and this. What the heck are you buying? Right at the end of the day, it is so much. And there's this fake understanding that more bonuses equal more value, and more fluff equals a better transformation. So they're stacking endless add ons that only create overwhelm, confusion, right? This once again putting you in this space as, I don't have this, I need this right now. It's not true. So a powerful, clear solution sells itself. People don't need more. They need the right thing, the aligned thing. They need to be seen, heard, and recognized for who they are, and that your product, your class, your course, your mentorship, your guidance is the right thing. So the solution is to keep it simple, to keep it clean, concise, and clear. Sell the transformation, not all the extras. Your offer should not feel like they're given homework, right? It should feel expansive. It should feel fulfilling. It should feel satisfying, yummy. Not like, oh my gosh, now I have to do all of this homework that probably you didn't even want to do in the first place. But that's just part of the added value. So, from hustling for clients to embodying your magnetism. So, I'm talking about chasing, convincing, hustling for sales. Those are the old paradigm. We're talking magnetism versus manipulation. Aligned clients don't need to be closed. They don't need to be chased. You don't need to be hitting their DMs if you've had a conversation and you want them to buy, right? Let them choose for themselves. Nothing worse. This morning I had this guy wanting to work with my YouTube channel, wants me to expand my YouTube channel, and there's message after message after message after message. I have never answered one of those messages, but I must be on a list that is constantly being rotated and messaged. Who wants that? You see through that now. And if you hadn't seen before, start opening your eyes to that now. The cold DMs, the mass, I'm having a master class, you're getting in your DMs, and you've never even heard of this coach, right? We've seen that. So the more embodied you are, the more effortless your sales are, because you're speaking from your truth. You're speaking from your heart. You're speaking from your experience. You're speaking from your embodiment, not a sales script. Not some mental chatter that someone else wrote that worked for them, a proven process. What works for you? And honestly, what works is speaking from the heart, speaking from your truth. And if that hits the right person, it's going to hit the right person. But you're not here for everybody. You're here for the right people. So, this is where I talk about being a lighthouse and not a lifeboat. Stand fully in your power. And when we stand fully in our power and being empowered, that means connecting to our source of power, connecting to plugging into the universal power rather than trying to steal power from someone else. So, speaking from your truth, sharing your work, and let the right people come to you instead of you trying to go to all the other people, right? We're in a world now where if you have that clear message, if you show up when you are full of energy, right? When you show up in that abundant energy, right? That trust that whatever I'm sharing today is perfect and is going to hit the right people, right? It really does have a different frequency. It really does have a different flow, and we know, we can feel it. So, this leads us to creating a legacy of love. So, the old way of building success, as we've said, is force, struggle, and fitting yourself into a mold that was never designed for you. But the new way is aligning so deeply with your energetic blueprint that success becomes inevitable. And once again, we talked about your time versus divine timing and aligning with or combining or creating or co-creating with universal time, with divine timing, right? So that you're plugged in to divine timing, and divine timing becomes your timing as well. So the world doesn't need more forced success stories or fake success stories. It needs more leaders fully standing in their truth. And sometimes they're in their messy middle. Sometimes they're just beginning, right? Leadership doesn't always mean this is what I've done. This is where, I'm the best. Look at me standing, on a pedestal. Some leaders support and lead from behind. Some lead in the middle. We all have a unique way of standing, of being in our leadership. And so finding the right frequency, the right way of leadership for you. Success isn't about doing more, it's about being more and being you. Your strategy and authority aren't just human design buzzwords, right? They are your built in GPS. They are the way that you connect to your intuition. They are the way to connect to your soul, your body's wisdom. They are the way for you to truly listen, to truly tap in, as I said before, not only to your energy, but tapping into universal energy as well and co creating with the universe. So, what's in your wheelhouse? And when I'm talking wheelhouses, I'm talking your energy centers. So, the gifts and the skills and the energy that make success feels natural instead of forced. For instance, as I said, the two centers defined in my own chart is the spleen, which is the center of actualization, self actualization. It's the center of courage. It's the center of fear. It's the center of in the present moment, in the now, intuition, and your well being. So, what do I talk about? I talk about all of those things because that's in my wheelhouse. I'm defined by my will center. That's empowerment. That's sharing resources. That's knowing your worth. And once again, that is where I share from my wheelhouse. But I also take in and amplify from my open centers, right? So it's fluid, it's flowing, but it's not fixed and forced. So your next step isn't about what you should do, but what actually lights your sacral up, what lights you up. Because when you honor your energetic blueprint, decision making becomes effortless. It becomes flow. It becomes second nature. So, are you making choices from conditioning, from pressure, and that old programming? That's okay. Be aware of that. Notice that. But you have a choice. You have a choice, right? So you have a choice to step into your trust and your alignment and your most powerful self. Because the more you are, the more magnetic you are. So if you stuck around for this whole presentation, I want to say thank you so much. It means the world to me. It really does. If you haven't grabbed the Rise of the Soulpreneur ebook, I highly, highly, highly recommend grabbing that book. It is 100 pages, right? Like it is a dive in diva book. It's a hunker down book. It talks about what being a soulpreneur means. It talks about the planetary alignment, the shifts that are happening, right? Like we have Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries, right? We're grounding our spiritual experiences. We have Pluto moving into Aquarius or moved into Aquarius, right, till 2040. And so this is power to the people. But who are the people? We have Uranus moving into Gemini for an extended period of time now. And so we're going to be seeing innovations in business, innovations in communication, the way that we travel. And so in that book, I do share quite a bit about the planetary alignments and the planetary influences. I also talk about the changes of the human design chart, the human design prediction, the mutation of 2027 as we move from the cross of planning into the cross of the sleeping phoenix and what that means to us as soulpreneurs. So I share a little bit about the mechanics of the chart and the mechanics how the chart is evolving. The business circuitry is evolving, and I share how that is evolving and how we can use parts of that in our business now as new paradigm leaders. And so we are the leaders of that. I also share about the way that marketing is changing and that we are creating, we are sharing, we are serving from empowerment rather than from trauma bonding or trauma-based marketing. So there's a lot of really, really good information and activations in there. I want to invite you to join us either in the Hive Mind Mentorship Mastermind. This is a 12-month commitment. Um, if you talk to any of my Hive Mind members, they're amazing. We're such a supportive group. We are all leaders in our own right, and we're all co-creating the next paradigm together. So if you want that level of support, of structure, of connection, I highly recommend checking out the Hive Mind. But if you're just still learning or you're just not ready for that, then I also have the Soulprism membership. This is $97 a month. This has everything from astrology to human design to gene keys to creating a business with your purpose and how to embody your business as a brand. There's so much goodness in there for $97 a month. That is a no-brainer. I want it to be a no-brainer, so listen to your strategy. So you've seen what's coming. You know what needs to shift. So don't do it alone. We activate, embody, and build businesses that are thriving in this new paradigm. So the future belongs to those who have courage to lead it. And I believe that everyone on this call today and everybody that is watching are the new leaders of this paradigm. And I'm so excited to be a part of this with you. That is the end of this conversation. I'm now going to open this up. I didn't realize all you got was my chin there. I'm going to open this up to any questions or reflections that you may have and that you want to share.
I feel like I'm still digesting a lot of it. Um, I feel like it's nice and refreshing to hear just because I feel like I'm hearing the same kind of like marketing that didn't really align with me, like a lot of focusing on like pain points and different things, whereas like I'm trying to better myself and like go on a higher frequency, so it's nice to like I say, like kind of get that reassurance to um just kind of do things my own way, right? Like to build that trust, build that connection. And it's okay to slow things down. Like I don't need to copy everyone else's systems and do it all that way. So honestly, it's just kind of like what I said, reassuring right now. And yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I'm still digesting it because my brain is like empty. Usually there's so much going on.
I'm a firehouse, a fire hose. It's just the way that I share, and I totally understand that you're gonna need to you're gonna need time to integrate it, right? You are emotionally defined, and so coming back, maybe writing down anything that stood out for you, maybe listening, coming back to listen to it. I know other people in this group, they prefer reading, which is why I wrote Rise of the Soulpreneur for those that enjoy reading. But personally, for myself, I love to be activated by voice, so I love to listen. And so I'm going to make this available if you want to listen to it again on YouTube and on my website, so you can listen to and I'm going to chunk it up in shorter pieces so that you can listen and digest it on your own time. And then, of course, I'm going to be adding more into the Soulprism membership and the Hive Mind, going really, really deeper into what the aspects are changing, how this is truly looking for us, so that we can embody this, so that we can move from it, because we tend to take things mentally first, right? Knowledge first. The difference between knowledge and wisdom is knowledge is mind based, but wisdom is earned, right? Wisdom is when you start embodying it, you start moving through that. And so taking it in through the mind and moving it through the body, which is why we do the 4 M's, so that it integrates in our mind, body, and soul. Thank you for sharing that, Haley. Does anyone else have any questions they want to pop in the chat or they want to jump out for?
Going off of that, I actually do have a question. So then, like, when you are talking about like the energy from the spirit and just like getting different energy, is that then like the related to the 4 M's and kind of what we did today, like just that grounding? Like, is that how to like get that energy or engage that energy, or is
That is one way of engaging with it, right? And so everybody has a different way that they like to connect to source. So I love the 4 M's. Some people love breath work, some people like
Mhm.
meditation, some people we all have a different way. But the first step is to know how to listen to your body. Know how to feel in your body what's right and what's not aligned. How to feel when you can start feeling those synchronicities and those coincidences in life. When you start noticing them, you start seeing the matrix, you start seeing the universal nudges that are pointing you in the right way. And then when you start feeling that in your body, you start recognizing it. It becomes a system, right? It becomes a system where you're like, ooh, that was a soul nudge, right? That was a soul nudge. And then you start asking. You start asking the universe for more of that. How can I connect more to my higher self? How can I connect more to the universe? I was doing Qigong the other day and I was just loving how I can feel the energy moving through my meridian lines. Now I have that awareness because I've studied Chinese medicine and I know I know that for my mind, but it wasn't until I could start feeling it in my body, right? When I go to acupuncture and I can start feeling when the acupuncturist is using different meridian lines, and that starts becoming embodied wisdom. And then what started happening is I start getting these little messages. Now, we all have a different way of connecting to the universe. Mine comes through a sense of knowing. And so I got this connection of connecting to not only my chi, but connecting to what was called the collective chi. And so that is something that I feel I'm here to share is the collective chi. And when you can start, like for me, what I feel is when I'm doing my own spiritual practices through meditation, through qigong, through whatever, it's not just for me, but it's for the collective chi. And I start, infusing my joy in my life, knowing that I'm, working with source and that collective chi. So that's my own language, that's my own connection. But it's so important, Haley, for you and for everyone else to find their own way of connecting to source. Or I know for Gina, it's dragons and the dragon cosmology, and that's how serendipity and who's the other one? Serendipity and anyway, her dragons connect to her, right? And so just listen and just allow and don't judge. Seraphim.
Yeah,
Serendipity and
thank
Seraphim.
you.
There we go. That would bug me. I'm on a call, Dylan. Okay. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to stop this. I want to once again thank everybody that came today, everybody that's going to be watching the replay this weekend. I appreciate you so much, and I'm just going to let you know that I'm lazy. I have not changed the Hive Mind price yet, so it is still $3,000 for an entire year, which is crazy low, but that's okay because I love guiding and being in these spaces where we get to share. And so probably up until Sunday night, I'm going to leave it as it is. If you want to hop in at that discounted price. And once again, this is not FOMO. This is true. What I'm saying is regardless of when you join, whether you join at the price that it is now, or whether you join later, your soul, your body knows what's right for you. And I want you to honor that. So if this is something that you're interested in, let's have a conversation. Reach out, have a conversation, and let's find what the best fit for you is, whether it is the mastermind, whether it's the membership, or whether you want to go deeper into mentorship with me. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Happy Beltane. Have an amazing weekend.